The March 28, 2017 meeting of the Marion County School Board is called to order. For the courtesy of those listening to the meeting, I am requesting everyone in the audience please turn off your electronic devices or put them on vibrate. Later in the meeting, up to 30 minutes will be provided for individuals to address the board on matters concerning the operation of the Marion County school system or the school board only. Presentations to the board are limited to 5 minutes and are televised. If you wish to address the board regarding a regular agenda item or matters on which the board customarily takes action, you must first complete a peach form located on the front table. If you wish to address the board regarding a public hearing or a student discipline matter, please complete a lime green form. These forms must be fully completed and received by the board secretary no later than 5:40 p.m. The procedures applicable for each are on a separate sheet. Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Mrs. Nancy Stacy, District 1.
Here.
Mr. Bobby James, District 3.
Here.
Ms. Angie Boynton, District 4. Here. Ms. Beth McCall, District 2.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly King, District 5.
Here.
Dr. Heidi Mayer, Superintendent.
Here.
Attorney Renee Pelsman.
Here. Thank you. Mrs. Judy Zanetti, Public Education Foundation Officer, please introduce the Rookie Teacher of the Year, who will be providing the inspiration and leading us in the pledge this evening.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's exciting for me to be here with you all again. So tonight I have the privilege of introducing you to John LaCorey, Marion County's Rookie Teacher of the Year, and many of you have already met Mr. LaCorey at his school or at the Golden Apple Gala. But for those that are not familiar with him, I'm going to tell you just a little bit. Mr. LaCorey teaches 5th grade at Stanton-Wearsdale Elementary School, and this is his first year in Marion County. What an impression he made upon our selections committee. He has taught for 2 years previous to coming to Marion County. He taught in upstate New York. He has a Bachelor of Arts in History and a Master of Science in Elementary Education, both from the University of New York, Potsdam. He is a Google Certified Educator and Microsoft Certified Innovative Educator. And so when I do not go and visit our potential rookies or teachers or golden apples, those visits are done by the selection committee. But the rookie selection committee would come back and tell me very crazy stories about Mr. LaCorey's classroom. So I understand one day he had the whole classroom gridded out like the game Battleship, and the students were the game pieces, and they were doing their math concepts through that. And I heard lots of wonderful stories about how impressed that committee was with how engaged his students were. And that is what they were looking for in someone to represent our newest teachers here in Marion County. His principal, Deb Riedel, is with us this evening, and I had the pleasure of talking to her earlier today, and she told me a little bit about Mr. LaCorey that I'd like to share with you. She says, John was hired after a phone interview, which took place when he was living in New York. My assistant principal and I knew immediately after his job interview that he was the right person for the job. He spoke about using standards to drive his instruction and shared his philosophy on the importance of teaching reading across all content areas. He was articulate, intelligent, and his passion for teaching was glaring. He brings innovation and out-of-the-box thinking to the classroom every day. He teaches every lesson with rigor and has high expectations for all of his students. Can't is not a word that is used in Mr. LaCorey's classroom. We feel very lucky to have Mr. LaCorey as a part of our amazing Stanton-Wearsdale Elementary team. And ladies and gentlemen, John LaCorey, Marion County's Rookie Teacher of the Year.
So before I begin, if I could ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. School board members, Superintendent Mayer, thank you for having me this evening. Tonight, I'd like to talk about something very important to me and where my heart of my teaching lies, reading. I've had an interest in reading and learning since before I can even remember. In fact, my first book was an encyclopedia of the U.S. presidents, a book I still have in my library today. I couldn't read it then, but the pictures interested me and I carried it around all the time. My mother, who worked 2 jobs, still found time to take me to public library most weekends and to read to me as often as she could as a young child. In elementary school, we had an author visit each year that inspired me to love both reading and writing. You may have heard of him, Ted Arnold, the author of the Fly Guy series, among other great stories. He's a native of my hometown of Elmira, New York, so he always spoke to the young kids at different local elementary schools. I still correspond with him and have used his stories in my teaching several times. He's been a huge role model for me as an emergent reader and now as a teacher. I'll never forget my first experience checking out books in the library at Broadway Elementary. Mrs. Woodhouse, our dedicated librarian, taught us the Dewey Decimal System and how to use the card catalog for finding books, and I will always remember the joy I felt being able to read at will, knowing that I had an unlimited supply of stories to choose from. I felt like Matilda Wormwood after the librarian told her she can take books home to borrow, so she brought the wagon to the library each week and took home a cart full of books to read. For me, reading was and still is a chance for me to enter another world and experience something new. Nothing will ever compare to that feeling. Books were always better than the movies for me because they last longer. My passion for literature is quite literally lifelong. As time went on, my love for reading turned into a love for learning. I loved school. In middle school, I would often stay after and read in the library. Luckily, we had a great librarian who stayed after and allowed me to stick around while she worked. Don't we love our librarians and media specialists? As a teacher now, I appreciate even more how much dedication something like that takes. I was certainly blessed with a great core of educators who inspired me, pushed me, and showed me the value of education. So in 7th grade, I realized that if I love being at school this much, I may as well make a career out of it, and I decided to become a teacher. The rest of my story is history. I graduated high school, went to college, and found my way to Marion County. But I wanted to tell my story about where my love for reading came from, because becoming a good reader is not automatic. It requires dedicated adults who have the resources to share the joys of reading with children. As an educator, I'm now in the extraordinary position to show my students my excitement for reading. My hope is that that excitement helps my students learn to love books and become lifelong readers. As Rookie of the Year in Marion County, I hope I can do whatever is possible to inspire others to read to their students and their children. Thank you.
Do you have any comments? Stacy?
You know, I somewhere missed the boat. I loved to read when I was young, real young, and then I got away from it as I got into high school and got into sports and everything, and I never really got back to it like I should have, being a school board member. So I'm impressed that, you know, I hear like Dr. Mears, she shares books with us, and our teachers, Miss McCall and Miss King, you know, they talk about books, and I think I just missed something. And so y'all need to work with me. Give me some good stories to read. And so thank you so much, because someone that has the patience to sit and educate themselves like that, it's just amazing to me. I let people read like Dr. Meir and tell me stories. But that's not the same, is it?
Being read to is just as awesome as...
They tell me stories. But thank you so much for your dedication. People that can really sit and enjoy a book and read like that, they have a special part inside them that I don't have. So thank you.
Any other comments?
You know, it is always nice to see a new teacher come into the county and bring so much to the table. And again, on behalf of all the students that don't have you as a teacher, I would like to say welcome aboard, and I hope your journey is a long one with the Marion County school system.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you for choosing Marion County as your home. Our students are certainly learning and gaining so much from you being there, and I hope you stay, and I hope one day you can mentor a young teacher in her or his classroom and show them how to engage their students, because your students are engaged.
Yeah, they are. You are an inspiration. Just listening to you as an adult, we were listening and reading part of, sometimes it is the storytelling. And I was thinking, since you have connections to Mr. Arnold, Fly Guy, you know,
Listen, he lives in Gainesville now.
see,
So
there we have it.
working on it.
Are you working on that? Okay, I'm gonna check back in and see how that's going. Okay, well, thank you, and keep up the wonderful, wonderful work, and Battleship, awesome. Thank you. All right, we're gonna move on. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Mayer.
With the exception of JD 17-76E and JD 17-77 under item 23.1, which have been withdrawn entirely, I recommend approval of the agenda for the March 28th, 2017 school board meeting with the materials in the board packet, those materials distributed to board members at the meeting, and the audio recording included as part of the official record of the meeting.
Okay, may I have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. McCall and seconded by Ms. Boynton. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and those that oppose say no.
Aye.
Thank you. And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the February 14th, 2017 school board meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. James, seconded by Ms. Boynton. Are there any additions or corrections? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those
Aye.
that oppose say no. And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the February 23rd, 2017 administrative briefing and work session?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. McCall, seconded by Ms. Boynton. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose say no. And the motion passed 5-0. Mrs. Judy Zanetti, Public Relations Officer, would you like to recognize a new business partner for Liberty Middle School?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much, Mrs. King. And you all know how important business partners are to our schools, how they get to bring the community right into our classrooms, and that is what we do at the Public Education Foundation. We work every day to connect children, classrooms, and communities. Right now, we have 13 schools that are still in need of a business partner, and that is the least amount of schools that have been in need of a business partner probably in the last 8 to 10 years. So it's been quite a while. And we have very few schools that are pleased and privileged to have a business partner that partners at multiple schools, and that is Inline Orthodontics. I'm going to call up the principal of Liberty Middle School, Mrs. Renee Jones. Oh, she's right here. Unfortunately, Dr. Burkhausen wasn't able to be here tonight. She is still in the office, but we wanted to recognize Inline Orthodontics. They partner not only with Liberty, but with their elementary school next door, Hammett Bowen, and we are excited about that. And I'm going to let you speak for a few minutes, and then I will give you the plaques.
Excellent.
Okay?
Thank you so much. It's my sincere privilege to be with you this evening and to thank Dr. Barkenhausen for her dedication to not only our students, but our entire community. She welcomes new families into our area. She makes them feel at home. She checks on her patients. She comes to our school and she gives hygiene and oral care information classes to our students. So all those things, along with making sure that every student has a planner and being our business partner, we greatly appreciate her for doing that. And I'm happy and privileged to be here to receive that in her behalf.
Okay, and I'll let you keep one in your office, at your school, in the front office, and then if you'll take one to Inline Orthodontics and Dr. Burkhausen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and please extend our gratitude.
I will.
Thank you, and keep up the great work. Okay, I will now ask Attorney Peltzman to explain the rules governing persons who wish to address the school board tonight.
Good afternoon. In compliance with Florida's Sunshine Law, the school board has adopted uniform rules and procedures for members of the public who wish to speak at tonight's meeting, either regarding one of tonight's agenda items or a matter relating to the operations of the school district. These procedures will ensure that the public has a reasonable opportunity to be heard on these particular school board and district matters. A written summary of these procedures is available from the table near the door to this room. Public speaker forms are also located on the table, and Mr. Christian is holding up those forms for your reference. The completed forms were due to the school board's assistant no later than 5:40 p.m. today. Tonight's speakers will be called prior to the business portion of the school board's meeting in the order that their form was received. Based on time considerations, the school board, by majority vote, can decide to limit the number of presentations on any one topic, shorten presentation times, move public time to a different position on tonight's agenda, or eliminate the public comment time for this meeting and any other. Before you begin to speak, please state your full name and address, and please spell your last name. Each speaker will have 5 minutes. When the speaker has 1 minute remaining, the speaker will receive a visual notice to complete his or her comments. Speakers may not yield any portion of their time to another person. Speakers and attendees at this meeting must conduct themselves in a respectful manner. Therefore, verbal attacks, slanderous statements, and profanity are strictly forbidden and may constitute grounds for the speaker's removal from the meeting. Commercial solicitation is also prohibited unless the solicitation is from a speaker invited by the school board who is on the agenda for tonight. Any matters dealing with student discipline, including expulsions, will be scheduled at the conclusion of the televised portion of this meeting. Parents may address the board regarding a discipline matter at that time. Keep in mind for future meetings that speakers may use handouts or audiovisual presentations, but only if they are provided at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. These presentations are also limited to a total length of 5 minutes. To ensure student privacy, only a parent or a guardian may use a student's first and/or last name. Identifying references to or identification of other students and/or their families are also strictly prohibited. Thank you for your attention to the board's requirements for this meeting. Madam Chair, that concludes my explanatory remarks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Luckett.
Mr. Chris Altabello.
Good evening, board members. Chris Altabello, 2020 Northeast 43rd Street, Ocala, Florida. It's been a while since I've had the pleasure to speak to you on behalf of public school teachers and education support professionals. Tonight, I would not only like to address you as Executive Director of the MEA and MESP, but more importantly as father of Madeline and Anthony Altabello. As like many parents throughout the state of Florida, I've been walking on eggshells throughout this school year. Maddie and Tony are in 3rd grade, and we all know that this is the grade that formally initiates our public school children into the world of high-stakes testing. I'm grateful to the wonderful faculty, administration, and staff at Ward Highlands Elementary who have made this year, as they have since kindergarten, a wonderful experience for my children, never putting a premium on the almighty test score. This morning we woke up about a half hour earlier than normal, and I made breakfast for Maddie and Tony. I then gave them my FSA pep talk. Here's what I said. Do the best you can. That's it. I didn't tell them that the state of Florida believes 1 or 2 days out of 180 dictate how well you have learned. I didn't tell them that their teacher's employment and compensation are tied directly to your test score. I didn't tell them that their beloved Ward Highlands is primarily measured by what happens over the course of a few days. In other words, I believe our children, teachers, and our schools are more than just a test score. We are in the middle of a legislative session. You know, the 2 months where the suits in Tallahassee think that they know more about my kids and our schools than you or I do. This session, I would like you to consider actively coming out and supporting Senator Montford's bipartisan bill, SB 964. This bill, according to the Miami Herald, has multiple facets to reduce and improve testing. And here's the catch. Here's the good thing. It enjoys broad bipartisan support. Kristen Clark of the Miami Herald reports that the bill would get rid of end-of-course exams in geometry, algebra 2, U.S. history, and civics. It would let students use the SAT or ACT in lieu of the FSA. It would shift testing to the last 4 weeks of the school year and affords districts the discretion of using paper and pencil tests instead of requiring computerized exams. It also repeals a controversial formula to evaluate teachers based on their students' year-over-year growth on exams. You know, the VAM. Perhaps the best articulation of this continued madness comes from Indian River educator and FEA Secretary-Treasurer Luke Flint. Here's what he had to say. The only consistent result that we have seen from state testing is that it has sucked the joy out of learning and out of teaching. When asked why he introduced Senate Bill 964, Montford stated, "We have heard from parents, we have heard from teachers, we have heard from students that they need relief when it comes to high-stakes testing in Florida. Teachers want to be able to teach and not have the classroom instruction interrupted for too many tests in the spring. It is my hope that this board will research this bill ASAP and strongly support Senator Montford and other education stakeholders, parents like myself, to ensure that our children, and my Maddie and Tony, are more than just a test score." Thank you.
Can I say something? Chris,
Yes.
I was up in Tallahassee yesterday, and I was able to wave support to the new instructional bill Ed Wilson spoke on, and I was able to wave support for on the Senate, during the Senate committee meetings. And I checked on that bill. There was another one that was going through that I was willing to support because it shortened the testing period to like the last 3 weeks of school, and there were some things about that. That was better than nothing. But at the last minute, they temporarily postponed that. And so I followed up and went into some of the senators and representatives' offices and spoke to them. And it looks like that bill is having a hard time getting on the House floor. The Senate, I believe, is ready to deal with it, but the House floor is the problem. So we might speak with the people on the Education Committee in the House, because that's the problem, is being heard in the House. So I'm following very closely with that and was there all day yesterday. And that's the story. We're having trouble in the House, okay? Thank you.
I understand.
And I'll also add that board members, we're leaving tomorrow morning. We're heading to Tallahassee.
Good.
And we have appointments set with the House, so.
We thank you, and I trust that we will get an update from you when you return.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other speakers? Okay, we'll just move along then. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. McCall, seconded by Ms. Boynton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the recommendation of award for bid 3635RC Virtual Reality Welder and Accessories for Denellen High School?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. McCall, seconded by Mr. James. And Dr. Mayer, you wanted to share some information with
Yes,
us.
please. Mr. Vianello, if you'll come on up. The voters of Marion County so graciously approved referendum dollars to be used in Marion County Public Schools to help in many areas, to improve the arts and music, to recruit and retain highly effective teachers, to bring more literacy instruction, among other things, as well as with our vocational programs. So when Mr. Vianello brought this to our attention, to the administration's attention, that this great program was happening at Denellen High School, I thought not only would you all want to know about it, but the residents of Marion County to show where their dollars are going. So Mr. Vianello, if you would, please share.
I will. Dr. Mayer, thank you. Board, good evening. This is going to be fun. So the highlight of this short presentation, we've got about a 2-minute video clip that's going to let you actually see what this machine and what the virtual welding is all about, some of the things that it can do. I'd like to introduce just a few people. We have Lynn Nobles, who is our coordinator for career and technical education. Mr. Stephen Ayers is the principal of Denellen High School, and then Mr. Donald Slocum. Mr. Slocum, if you could come on up here, and when I'm done and we've seen the video, if you could just say a few words on how this is going to impact you and your students. Before the video, however, I'd like to just lay a little groundwork, and everything that we do in our world of CTE from here on out, we're going to view it from the perspective of relevance, and we're going to view it from the perspective of return on investment. So when we talk about return on investment, we're looking at it from two different angles. From the community's angle, are the programs and is the equipment, in this case, are our students, are we producing a product, a talent pool that our community can use? So return on investment from their perspective, but also a return on investment from our students' perspective. Is the education that we're providing, is it preparing them? Is it the equipment, is the instruction, or the programs? Is it providing them with outcomes that will help them be successful as they venture beyond the world of high school? So applying those two standards to this particular product, here we have some important points. From the community, the first point and the second point, I think, is what I want to focus on here. And Dr. Mayer's already said, thanks to our community, with the referendum dollars, we were able to purchase this equipment, which will impact our students and ultimately help our students become better employers. But one of the things that we look at for all of our programs is relevance to the community. What is the job outlook in our local workforce, regional workforce, state workforce when it comes to that particular program? In welding, and we pulled this off the state website, the top 15 occupations that fall underneath manufacturing. Welding comes in number 8. So we know this is a valuable trade that the students are learning here. Valuable not only here in Marion County, but all across the state and beyond. So you see some other points there from the business perspective. Let's look at this from the student perspective. And the first point could really go into either category here. An industry certification, that is of value to business. That lets business know that the student is proficient in the skill. So it's more than just a high school diploma that says we have jumped through all the requirements to earn a diploma. An industry certification lets business know a specific skill that a student that can do. And that is of great value to business, and it is great value to the student. So if you look at the third bullet, the certification, which the research says through application of this virtual welder will increase performance of students passing the exam, and the certification is the NCCER welding. Now, NCCER is nationally recognized in carpentry and electricity. In this case, it's for welding. So a student will get, as they pass these exams, a card that anywhere they go in the world will validate their knowledge base when it comes to welding. So that's valuable for the student. You can see we have the salary range there, a very good salary. for students working in this area or employees working in this area. And then, of course, if you complete the program, it goes to, it articulates to a Gold Seal scholarship. I think I wanted to make a point here. Oh, the second point, articulates to Marion Technical College. So students in the class can go right to Marion Technical College and earn roughly 90 hours out of about a 1,000-hour program. So those are free hours that they don't have to pay for. We articulate, in this case, to ourselves, high school to Marion Technical College. So it's a win-win for all of us. Okay, I've said enough. Let's move on to, safety benefits. Just take a quick look at this because it is a virtual welder, of course, and we have to keep in mind the safety of our students, and that is certainly a benefit of the machine that you're about to see. So there's a picture of the machine, and Kevin, if you click the link, you'll see what the machine can do, what it looks like.
Anybody see the mouse? Is the mouse pointer is white? Upper left corner.
The Real Weld Trainer from Lincoln Electric. The Real Weld Trainer from Lincoln Electric is a highly effective welding training tool for school and industry settings. Merging actual welding with advanced motion tracking technology, Real Weld is ideal for use as a bridge to traditional welding training. Using Real Weld, your team can enhance student comprehension, reduce training time, and increase certification rates. At the same time, you can reduce program materials costs, including plate, electrode, and shielding gas. With an exclusive solution for a guided welding experience and immediate feedback right in the booth, Real Weld takes a student a long way on the journey to becoming a skilled welder. 5 technique parameters are instantly scored for review and student tracking. Reporting makes it easy to grade each student when the time comes. Real Weld creates an environment that mirrors the welding and teaching experience more closely than any other training system, including the use of audio coaching cues. It's like having a welding instructor in every booth. Use Real Weld for stick, MIG, and flux cord welding in a wide range of materials, thickness, joint type, positions, and weld lengths. And there's no need for fussy, repetitive calibration with every weld. Just set it, forget it, and let the learning begin. The system is loaded with a number of customizable welding procedure specifications, and the instructor can add many more. Instructors can access the system from anywhere to embed supplemental material like videos, student activities, assessments, and more. Tailor your program to put students on the path to numerous industry certifications. You can also work with local employers and provide proof that your students have mastered the welds they will perform on the job. Give your students a real chance for career success. Give them the real deal with the Real Weld Trainer.
Every box. This is relevance, this is rigor, this is return on investment. I'd like to introduce Mr. Slocum. I would like to say here, we've seen and met.
Hey, this is Jody with weldingtipsandtricks.com. I've got one drawer in my toolbox. It's got a whole bunch of odds and ends, copper pieces like.
You all have, you've met Kayla Palacios, and Kayla is a wonderful employee for us, oversees 504 and health services, works in Dr. Absher's alternative learning. This is Kayla's father. So amongst all the things Mr. Slocum does, he is also the proud father of Mrs. Palacio, who does a wonderful job for us. So I had to bring that up. Go ahead, Mr. Slocum.
Thank you. Humbling moment. Good evening. What I would like to say about this tool, it enables me to have students, muscle memory is key for welding. It is key, because when you're welding, if you don't know where you're going before you get there, there's going to be a problem with the weld. So this machine allows them to build muscle memory without the fear of being burnt or ruining their clothes, and I don't have to worry about equipment being ruined and wasting materials, because that's a problem right now, is wasting a lot of materials in the learning process. So by the time I put them on a real machine, they've already learned the muscle memory with this machine. And also the student achievement data is collected. I can collect and reflect on how well I'm teaching them, and from year after year, and being able to improve my teaching ability, along with the students that they can reflect on how they learned last year. You took Welding 1 last year. Let's plug in and see how well you did. And it, oh, no, that wasn't me. Yeah, that was you. So they can reflect, and then I can also have them, but what they do is they compete. They get on the thing and they compete. Because we were at the equipment, there was an equipment display down in Tampa in a field trip, and they had that machine there. And my students immediately were like right on that thing. And they were competing, and the people from Lincoln Welding told me that my students scored better than all the other schools that came there that day. And I was pretty proud to say that. And it was pretty cool. And they're in it. I mean, engagement is not even an issue with this thing.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Questions?
The fact that they are engaged, it shows that students are hungry for something besides what we've been giving them, and that they're hungry to learn. It's not that children just can't learn, we're just not giving them the things that they want to learn about. So thank you.
All right. And I also would like to add there are manufacturers in our town right here that I've contacted, and I've already had placement of students that have already come out of my program. So they're hungry for people that can actually do the job, so.
Yeah, I think, oh, sorry, Mr. James.
Okay, talk with me about the numbers. What your numbers look like in your classes?
Right now I want to be realistic about the ones that are going to actually pass. So we're right at 18 that are going to go through level 1 right now. And I have 3 for level 2 already this year. So
Okay, back me up to the beginning of the program now. When did they get into your program? When did they enter your program?
Well, they have 3 levels to do. First of all, with NCCER, they're required to take the core or the basic program and pass and be certified in safety and equipment and use of equipment and working in a shop. That takes a whole year. So they have to take that basic one, and that's when they get their NCCER card certifying them to be on board, prepared to take all the other programs that NCCER offers. So the second year they're in, they can either take my Power Generation Academy or welding. They can go either way, which is very nice. It makes it mobile for them. They can make a choice. So if they choose welding, they immediately go into level 1. So they have to be in there the second year they take welding in the program that I've got set up.
Okay, in the use of the machine, how many students can be on the machine at one time?
It is 1 at a time, but the time limit, there's a time limit on it. You can set the time limit how long they're going to be on there, and then it's the next student over. So in an hour time, you can have possibly 20 students go through. And
Okay, the class can go through it?
yes.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Any other discussion?
Just thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I want to say thank you. Also, that's interesting, how times have changed. And I like that we're being innovated and on top of this. And when I saw the salary schedules, that's a good salary when you come out of school. And then who's to say that they wouldn't go into supervisor positions and make more money? My brother-in-law is a welder, and he took it vocational, and he makes more money than any of us. So I think that's great. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and vote. We need to, okay, there we go. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve extended day program fee schedule for the 2017-2018 school year and the 2018-2019 school year?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Boynton, seconded by Mr. James. Dr. Mayer, you also wanted to share information on the fee schedule.
Ms. Gerlach, if you and your team will come on up. Opportunities. That is the mission and the philosophy of this administration. And as we look at opportunities for students in vocational, we're also excited that we are able to provide more opportunities for students in extended day. Not only are we going to open up the door to allow more children of differing abilities to join us in extended day, you'll notice that the fee schedule is going to stay the same. So I wanted our new, well, as of your approval, our new director, July 1st, of elementary education, Ms. Gerlach, and her team to present as we are transitioning extended day from where it currently sits in Title I to elementary education, so we have a more seamless distribution of services. So, Dr. DeWeese?
Good evening, Dr. Mayor, Chair King, and all of the members of the board. Actually, Dr. Mayor just talked about my slide, so my part is very easy. We are transitioning. We have a wonderful team, and we are presenting the fee schedule, and then you will also hear about the transition from extended day under my direction to under Holly's direction. Dr. Mayor already told you she is the new director of elementary education. Beth Abel, coordinator for early learning. Liz Fields is the director of exceptional student education. Pam Eubanks is a program specialist for extended day, and we hope you enjoy our presentation tonight.
Good evening, board, Dr. Mayor. Currently, extended day serves approximately 3,000 families. On average, we have 3,000 students enrolled. We offer before care and after care after school, and we're located at all elementary schools and select middle schools. We now serve the VPK age 4 through 8th grade, and we include some students with disabilities. And that's our current program. We have what we call the laws of extended day. Those are our 4 components. We have leadership, academics, wellness, and STEAM. In leadership, we have student-led clubs, peer-to-peer activities to develop leadership skills with our students. Academics, that is primarily our homework zone, and at each school we have a homework zone. It is equipped with pencils, paper, calculators, anything that they need to finish their homework, and we also hire a para from the school to assist the students during that time. We have a wellness component. We have 4 rotations within that wellness component that the schools will all rotate throughout the course of the year. We have a yoga component in that area, or rotation, and then we have up and moving clubs. And so they have to be up and moving type clubs. It could be basketball, but it's just not to go out and play basketball. It's to learn basketball fundamentals and things of that nature, so they really learn the game. And then we have gardening as part of that program. And then also our Catch Kids, which our Catch Kids program is a research-based program for after-school and community programs. It's a physical education program that we have. And we also have a wellness coordinator through a grant with Measure Up Marion in that area. And then our enrichment activities in the afternoon involve STEAM activities with science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. We have about an hour every afternoon in which the students have to participate or are offered to participate in various activities, but they're all STEAM related. This gives you a little snapshot of our program. That you can see the students gardening. We partner with Feed the Need for the gardening. And then 4-H in the corner is an embryology program. And if you haven't had an opportunity to see an embryology program at a school, it brings about such excitement. I was out at Fort McCoy the other day, and their chicks were hatching. And I think the bus drivers in the bus loop were in there, the cafeteria workers were in there, everybody was in there checking out the chicks. And so they love the baby chick, the embryology program with 4-H. And then we also partner quite a bit with 4-H with a financial literacy program with our middle schools, as well as some STEM coding. The students up in the top corner are participating in a day of coding. That is also through 4-H. We partner with the Ocala Civic Theater for acting classes and putting on plays and things of that nature, and that's been a nice partnership too. So we are expanding opportunities for all students, which is exciting because every student on our campus, beginning in the 17-18 school year, will be served if their families need extended day, either in the afternoon or in before care. We are expanding our services for students with disabilities and providing new opportunities for the 3-year-old student that's involved in our pre-K. This is the extended day fee schedule. As you can see, it's the same fee schedule as last year. We have not changed our fees since 13-14. We did adjust, Ms. Stacy had brought to our attention last year about our early dismissal fee, and we made a change in that last year. But we're not advocating for any changes this year. They will remain static for the 17-18 school year. And we work with finance, and we also look at other districts and what they're charging, as well as community rates, to make sure that we're compatible or in that market rate in our programs.
Thank you. Good evening. Nice to see you, Superintendent and board members. Again, my name is Beth Abel, and I am in charge of VPK Early Learning throughout the district. And I'm delighted to be here tonight to share with you the partnership that we have. And to continue, our team would like to share with you the rationale for this expansion into our 3-year-old segment of population. We currently already serve our 4-year-olds in extended day, and it was a natural transition to look at our 3-year-olds and say, hey, can we serve them? And we had 3 reasons for this rationale. The first one is, first and foremost, there is a need out there for our parents of our 3-year-olds to have services, and we wanted to give them the opportunity of that choice. They may choose it or they may not, but at least they will have that opportunity now with a 3-year-old. Secondly, it involves our inclusive environment. Our state and our district, we all understand the importance of inclusion and the benefits of inclusion for our students in that type of a setting, that it benefits them socially and emotionally along with academically, no matter if they are students with disabilities or students without disabilities. And this will provide another opportunity for them to have an inclusive environment. And finally, the third reason that we decided that this was important for us to transition and expand the program was for the time that we spend with our children. This would give us another opportunity, either before school or after school, to spend time with our littlest guys, and we would be able to support them with developmentally appropriate practice. And just the simplest of terms, what that means for developmentally appropriate practice is that we would be meeting the children where they are developmentally, and then helping scaffold them, helping support them, helping stretching them to their next level of development. So any time that we can have time with our children is an asset to us, and this would provide us more time for that. And so now Liz is going to share about the partnership between our 3 departments, between ESE and extended day and extended learning, early learning, so that you can understand that this was a well thought out process and plan between the 3 departments that we think would benefit our parents and our students.
Good evening, board. Thank you. We are going to be enhancing the program and partnering together, and of course our students with disabilities that participate in these programs don't have a disability disappear when they leave the classroom and go to extended day. So it's important that the special education or exceptional student education department is involved with our program managers and extended day so that we can provide student-specific supports to those students in that environment and provide professional development, disability awareness, understanding of behavioral needs for students in an unstructured environment, which may be different than a student-structured environment in the classroom. It's also important to provide that on-site coaching. So we will be there, our behavior team, our program specialists are there beyond the hours of the school day and beyond the teaching hours so that we can provide that support like we would provide in a classroom. And the other really critical piece is that extended day will be coming to the table when we have these individual education plan meetings. Again, it's an extension of the school day. So they are a stakeholder in that student's education and that parent's understanding of that, and it's important that they come to the table with all of our students that have disabilities that are participating in this extended day program. So I'm going to turn it back over to Beth.
Thank you. Again, by leveraging our resources with the 3 different departments, then we're able to have the best benefactor, which would be for our students. And so part of the partnership that we'll be bringing to the table is we're already in our early learning department for our pre-K students. We're already training on the DAP process and the DAP resources and understanding of it. So we're just going to have Extended Day come to the table and get that information as well. That way they'll be able to serve the children in their environment and be able to have that training behind them. In addition, we're already talking about scheduling our on-site learning walks, and that would be where the Extended Day personnel can come and actually see our pre-K students in action in their environment to see what it looks like, and then vice versa for our pre-K to be able to go to the Extended Day environment and for us to see what happens there so that we can make sure that we're giving the most supports that we can. So we're really excited about the departments working together.
I am truly, truly honored to be here tonight with you. So thank you, Superintendent. Thank you, board members. And I just want to truly express my sincere gratitude for this amazing team that I had the opportunity to work with. It truly is a partnership about extending these opportunities to all students in Marion County. So with that, this whole vision, thank you for your innovative leadership, Dr. Mayer and Dr. Grantham, and allowing us to move forward to truly provide these great opportunities for our youngest students who will truly benefit from this wonderful opportunity. So we really want to look at creating this authentic, organic opportunity as we continue to look at not only our school day, but how we can continue that with our before and after school programming. So I'm extremely, extremely excited to have this team be now moved under our side of the house under curriculum and instruction, so we can truly make sure all these wonderful programming options are truly aligned to all the great things that we already do in the context of the school day. And if anything, it's just going to continue to expand with greatness. So once again, thank you to my wonderful team for allowing me to be a part of this, and I truly, truly appreciate all the great things we'll continue to do. So with that in mind, any questions for my wonderful team?
Ms. Nicole?
I just want to say, I keep thinking I can't get any more excited, and then I do. This is so needed. I've always wondered, why are we not taking that opportunity to use to help educate our children? Taking the 3-year-olds into the program, our special needs children, it's wonderful. Thank you. I'm excited about it. And what a tremendous, at the cost that parents can truly afford, and to have that extra educational component will also help that parent understand their child better. So, thank you.
Mr. James?
This is directed at Dr. Deweese. You know, one of the things, I understand where we're going with the Extended Day. One of the things that I've talked with you in the past about is those kids at Parkside.
Right.
And this is one of the areas that I'm mostly concerned about. And I see Miss Sandy sitting there, so it have nothing to do with you, Chris. But I'm looking at when we needed something in reference to working with those kids in Parkside. I was able to come to you. Okay, now where will this be this time? Where were those people that's working with the kids in Parkside?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Mrs. Coy over at South Ocala and I have a continual conversation with Mrs. McElveen over at Parkside. We've actually already developed a plan for her to still reserve spots at Howard Academy so those folks can come and have after-school tutoring. During the summer, Ms. McElveen will also provide the passwords for all of the computer programs that Mrs. Coy has purchased through her Title I funds to have those students in the community center having tutoring during the summer. So I think the partnership with South Ocala, because those students actually feed into South Ocala, it will be fine. It will be fine. We have a continual conversation on a monthly basis.
Okay,
she walks across the street to us and we walk across the street to her.
Okay, that was one of my concerns, is that I know we have quite a few students in there, but there's also another, we'll work on that one, because I know there's another area I'm concerned about as well, where they have a pocket of students,
Okay.
and where they are being bused over to Sandalwood and things, Shady Hill.
Okay.
and things like that. And one of my big concerns is to make sure that as we go through the summer programs, that these kids are not overlooked. One of the things that we talked about was being able to provide to the volunteers over there supplies and things like that. So will I come to you, or where do I go with that?
Yes, sir, you can still come to me. In fact, we do have regular volunteers to come and help those students in the afternoon right now. And they come once or twice a week. We've just reached out to the principal at Vanguard, Mr. Curley, so his students who actually need extra volunteer hours are coming over as well. And we've already had a partnership with the students at Howard Middle School. So there's lots of volunteers helping those students get their after-school tutoring needs.
Okay. As you know, during the summer, there was, God, anywhere from 25 to 30 kids meeting there daily. And that's the ones I don't want to be overlooked. Okay.
We've actually reached out to Minister Strawbridge, but as you know, he's relocated. So we've worked with several churches through our volunteers who actually volunteered last summer, and they're trying to figure out which church they're wanting to use to sponsor those summer school activities on our campus. So we have it in the works. Give me a call. I'll walk you through the whole process.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got a question. The 4 components of our program, the leadership, academics, wellness, and STEAM, is this all, the gardening and the theater and the art, is this all new, or is this something we've been doing?
I mean, we started that 3 years ago.
You started having the gardening and stuff and,
Yes, ma'am.
and everything. So what's different about it now over then? How are you're inviting, allowing more people to participate?
Yes, that's the main purpose, is just to show that now we will have more students that will be able to participate in those programs.
And have you changed them? How have you changed, how are things different now than they were with your extended care?
Currently,
Like for next year coming up?
for next year, we will be taking the 3-year-olds in pre-K as well as more ESE students or students with disabilities. And so we will incorporate them actually into our program. And we're going to be reviewing those programs over the summer to see,
And I was going to say, I'll jump in and add to
Partnership-
that.
partnerships.
Absolutely. So part of that with the transition moving under our side of the house for curriculum instruction is to really look at what are we doing in the context of the school day and how can we really mirror that in our extended day programs. So how can we take those standards-based, organic learning experiences and have that represent these STEAM components? How can we benefit these leadership opportunities? So really, we want to have more of a focus on these great programming efforts, but to make them even better by really having that continual focus of curriculum instruction and how can we use this to positively impact our students in their social emotional components, but also the academic piece of it.
Okay, I see that as being very helpful to parents who work.
Absolutely.
Because their children just don't get exposed to just even the conversations of the at-home moms, and where the children just subliminally learn things from just asking questions. So to be able to bring the curriculum in a fun way, where it still keeps it fun, where I know that the working parents are going to appreciate that part that you're doing for them, that there's just not enough hours in the day for them to do when they get home. So thank you.
Any more discussion? Thank you. Well done. So we're going to move on to vote for the extended day program fee schedule for the 2017-2018 school year and the 2018-2019 school year. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And those that oppose say no. And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the following cash or tangible donations that has a total value of $41,440.47. $1,000 to Bellevue Elementary School from Sarah Fitzgerald. Golf cart valued at $2,500 to Bellevue High School from Zaxby's. $5,000 to Bellevue High School from Bellevue High School softball booster. $1,000 to East Marion Elementary School from 230 Circle K Stores Incorporated. $2,500 to Fezzen Elementary School from their business partner Allstate Construction, Inc. via the Public Education Foundation. $20,000 to Hillcrest Public School from an ongoing anonymous donor. $1,000 to Lake Weir High School from Lake Weir Kiwanis. $3,340.47 to Madison Street Academy from the Madison Street Academy PTA. $1,500 to Marion Technical College from the American Endowment Foundation. $1,900 to Spar Elementary School from Peter and Mary Van Note. $1,700 to Stanton Weirsdale Elementary School from Weirsdale Presbyterian Church. May I have a motion in a second?
So move.
Moved by Ms. McCall and seconded by Ms. Boynton. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And those that are opposed say no. Do you think I'd have any news?
I don't think that's ever happened.
And the motion passed 5-0. Ms. Stacy, would you want to
Certainly.
tell everyone thank you?
I appreciate that Mrs. King adds it up for us, and that we have a $40,000, you said we had $41,000 that was given to the community, and that's just amazing, because every couple of weeks, there's $20,000 to $50,000 that's given to us out of the community, and people who share with the students, and education is what they really care about. And it shows us why our tax passed when we did our tax for our ad valorem tax, because this community cares about education. And I hope that they will continue, and we will continue to make them proud enough of us to continue offering to help us. And I thank those who gave out of the kindness of their heart to help the students of Marion County. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next administrative briefing and work session is scheduled for Thursday, April 6, 2017 at 9 a.m. The purpose of the work session is to receive annual reports from the alternative schools and to discuss operational costs per school, as well as review revisions to invest board policy. A majority of board members will be attending the Florida School Boards Association Day in Legislature tomorrow, and Thursday, you guys. All right, so we're going to move right along to board comments and concerns. Ms. McCall?
Certainly. I was very pleased to attend with Dr. Mayer the Charlie Dixon Elementary Music Festival, and I can say that music is alive and well in our elementary schools.
Yes, it is.
Those students were absolutely wonderful. Some of the rhythms, I used to be very good at rhythm, and some of the rhythms they were doing, I'm not sure I could do that anymore. The music teachers were very engaged with them. It was just a wonderful evening. Leanna Dixon, who was principal at Hammett Bowen, I believe, was there representing the family. It was her dad, Charlie Dixon, who was not musical at all, but just loved music. And it was very important to him that students had music in the school. So it was an absolutely marvelous, marvelous evening. And then Saturday night, I had the privilege to attend, and Dr. DeWeese was there, the Altrusa read-in, their trivia night fundraiser. My husband's law firm sponsored a table. I am ashamed to say it was the first time I'd ever been, but it certainly won't be my last, because the fundraising goes towards our public schools. We had several classroom teachers who received grants, and we played trivia, and our table, even with those very intelligent lawyers, we didn't do very well. The younger people did. We couldn't even use our phones for Google. I was going, no, that's against the rules. But anyway, we had a lot of fun, and the winners actually got to choose schools to give books to. So, beautiful night. A very special thank you to Altrusa International for all you do for our schools. So thank you.
Ms. Boynton? Mr. James?
One of the things that I was looking at, I was talking with today, was looking at our alternative programs, and Dr. Abshire, I haven't had a chance to talk with you about it, but I know it's coming up next week. When I look at the number of kids that we have coming up for expulsion and things, I am concerned about the numbers out at Surmy. Do we need to do something there to increase their capacity or something like that? Because when I think about this time of year, I know this is a difficult time for schools. And usually when I say difficult times, they have a lot of kids that's doing a lot of crazy things and they end up there. And I know that one of the things that we talk about is using Play-Doh. But I do know that we have students, especially the students that are having difficulty in school, dealing with Play-Doh, because I know they need to be in front of someone. So I know we have something coming up on the 6th. Would you look at what we could do if they need some additional help, or we can need to add something to that program over there, be able to bring it to us on the 6th, if you would. Okay.
Dovetailing off of what Mr. James said, and considering the fact that by this time of the year, it's really getting crowded over there, there may be a time, and I don't know whether things are decided by statute, how long a child stays there, but maybe we might, if we're allowed to by statute, maybe re-examine maybe some of the punishments not fitting the crime where the children are there for a full year, where maybe a half a year would have been plenty to teach them the lesson that they needed to know. Because, you know, honestly, I think we can teach children things without just executing them. And so there's so many kids that they get so hopeless, and possibly we need to re-examine some of the punishment and the crimes that it's hooked to, and maybe we won't be so crowded at Surmy, our expulsion school, basically. But that's what I've been, you know, this gave me the opportunity to say that since Mr. James. But what my comments tonight, you know, I spoke with Mr. Altabello about the testing issues and things that we are all going to Tallahassee and working in our own ways. And I went as a member of the executive board for the Florida Coalition of School Board Members and walked through for that organization Monday. And that Mumford bill is just fantastic. And so I'm not real optimistic unless we really get behind and push it. But I think if we know that they're already putting skids on it, and we can dig down and somehow make our way in to get that bill moving along to try to get some attention, because there's someone holding it up. And so another thing that happened yesterday, the instructional bill that regarding instructional materials, books and things, as far as having the community input, that passed unanimously while I sat in the Senate chambers and watched it. So that was great. We will have a lot more input, and we should be proud of our own Ed Wilson, who spoke on the Senate floor to the committee and did a wonderful job. And I was able to wave in support of what he was doing to the members and on the written record. And so I do want to make a shout out to Mr. Ed Wilson for the work that he's done. He did not have time yesterday to be there. He had many other things he needed to be doing, but he put this passion that he has for parents having the right and the community having the right to know what's being taught in our schools ahead of his own personal business. So Ed Wilson, we thank you.
Ms. Boynton.
I do want to tell everybody, I went over to Evergreen for the parents and the students. There was a meeting, and when I have been there before, years about 2 years ago, and it was not the children, but this time, when I walked in, I thought, well, where are the parents? They were all outside. When you opened the door, you were like, oh my gosh, the parents. I just want to thank parents for really understanding that we love you at Evergreen. And it was just so good for me to see all of the parents with the children. It was just a good day, and I'm just like, thank you, parents. Thank you so much.
Okay,
And the students, you know, as that's enough. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. James, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I want to just echo some things that Ms. Stacy was saying. It might snow somewhere.
That's funny.
It probably,
Like
it
like
probably-
the equator.
Yeah, it probably snows somewhere. Working on the Mumford bill, one important thing that I would like to say to you, I did read the bill, and one of the things I'd like to say to the board, if you have an opportunity to talk with Mixon and Associates, please inform them of our wishes so they can pass this on to the other people that they lobby for as well. So this is one of the things that, how we can utilize those monies that we pay for our lobbyists. Make sure when you see them, we push that issue.
So we're getting short on time.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good discussion. Ms. Peltzman, do you have anything to add?
No, I just want to tell you that I appreciate the honor and privilege of being able to serve you here tonight.
Ms. Marquetter? Dr. Mayer?
Yes, ma'am. Before we start with some comments about our school district, I would like to say congratulations to our OPD officer, Charles Hunt, who is with us almost every week, but he will be missing the next few weeks as he is going to get his family ready. His wife is about to give birth to their second son at the end of April, so we just wanted to give a shout out and congratulations to you and your wife, and just thank you for everything you do to us, and we'll miss you. So, but when you come back, bring lots of pictures, okay? All right, so the best to your family, so. Our administration, the district, would like to extend sincere gratitude to you, the board, for fully committing to expanding educational opportunities through the adoption of the voluntary plan, which went forward with the paper that you signed. We were able to submit for the Magnet Schools of America grant. So we thank you so much for that, and also your commitment to expanding opportunities to all students in our district. Lots of exciting things are happening in our district. Last week, we were able to host the actual gavel, the little hammer that George Washington used to lay the cornerstone of the Capitol building. It came to Marion County, and so at Westport High School, the actual gavel was there, and under Principal McAteer's direction, the students went through and were able to talk to the Masons that brought it to us and got to see it. It was just amazing, and we talk about history and bringing it to life out of a textbook, and there it was. This past Saturday, we had principal and assistant principal interviews. They lasted all day under the great direction of Barbara Dobbins, Marilyn Underwood, and Woody Clymer. They organized it with Dr. Grantham's direction. We interviewed 169 people for principals and assistant principals. We had many applicants from within our county. We had applicants from Citrus County, Columbia County, Sumter County, from Texas. We even Skyped people in. So they did a great job of doing that, and it was very well organized, and we thank them for that. Saturday also was the Veterans Welcome Home ceremony. It was originally organized under the Vietnam Veterans Welcome Home, but it was a welcome home for all veterans. So that was an exciting opportunity at the Veterans Park. And of course, Ms. McCall, you mentioned the Charlie Dixon Music Festival, and that was the first time. Oh my gosh, it was. So fun. It was. And thank you for giving me tips on what was happening from your musical background. And I appreciate that, because I would stop and say, Ms. McCall, now what are they saying and what are they doing? And you would explain it to me. So I thought tonight was a great opportunity to share some books about music. So one of my favorite artists is Sting, who sang with the Police. And this book that came out a few years ago are the lyrics to all of his songs with background information. So you get the background of Fields of Gold and what it actually means, and how he, the feelings when he would walk through the actual fields in England, and how the stories came about. So that's a great way to introduce. I would use it with my college students because they had no idea of the background. But poetry and music, it combines, and it's a great resource there. I love alphabet books. This one, M, is for metal. It's more parents. It's more for older children, high school children, even you parents, not so much for the younger ones, as when they go through the alphabet, O is for Aussie, Q is for Queen, the band, and it's just a fun way to talk about music in the alphabet like that. But again, parents, it's for a little older students. A book that's fun for the entire family, though, is called We Rock, and I got this from the Appleton Museum gift shop, and it is a family guide for exploring music. It talks about music history, Elvis, the Beatles, the whole way up to the music I enjoyed from the 80s with, Duran Duran and our music, Mrs. King, and Wham and things like that. But it gives a little bit of history and also family activities. So if you want to engage your family on some music activities, that was a lot of fun to read. And then to end tonight, I wanted to take just a moment to share about Take Stock in Children, which is a program that we have through our foundation, and it is Marion County's premier scholarship and mentoring program. As part of the Public Education Foundation, the Take Stock program helps low-income children achieve their dreams of going to college. Currently, there are 200 high school students in Marion County's Take Stock program, and a new class of 8th graders are in the process of going through the applications right now, and our goal is to accept 50 new students. But to do that, we need volunteers. Besides my son, Jack, my Take Stock in Children mentee is the greatest joy in my life. She's like my own daughter. And last spring, with all of our Take Stock in Children students, $460,000 worth of scholarships were given to these students. So it's an incredible opportunity for students who may not have opportunity to go to college, but not only that, they get to be paired with somebody who really cares about them. So if you have opportunity and some time in your life, this will touch your heart like nothing else. Kevin asked me to share this tonight because one of the foundation board members, her mentee, wrote a poem. And this poem was written by an 11-year-old Marion County student who at the time wanted to become part of the Take Stock in Children mentoring program. And from what I understand, his application was so very strong that he has a very good chance. But again, this is by an 11-year-old young man. Okay, it's called Don't Give Up. When I was just a little boy, my home life wasn't great. If I even went to school, I always would be late. The clothes I wore were filthy, always torn and tattered. I was embarrassed wearing them, but my feelings didn't matter. Many times when I was hungry, I had asked my parents for food, but my mother would be passed out and my dad was in a bad mood. The house we lived in was a mess. There was garbage everywhere. I wanted it to be clean, but no one seemed to care. One day when I came home from school, there were policemen in my yard. They took my brothers and me away. Man, that day was hard. I didn't know what was happening. My world was falling apart. I was taken from my parents. It was breaking my whole heart. But the policemen knew my grandparents, and they called them on that day. Even though I was very scared, I knew things would be okay. My brothers and I have lived with my grandparents for 5 years. There's no hunger, no more filth, and laughter instead of tears. So even if your life is hard and hope cannot be found, don't give up, have faith in God, He can turn your life around. And yes, an 11-year-old wrote that. And so thanks to God and thanks to our volunteers who Take Stock in Children, that differences are being made every day in our kids' lives.
Dr. Mayor, I am also a mentor, and my mentee is absolutely wonderful. And school board members, I would encourage all of you, if you are not a mentor with Take Stock, please try to sign up. It's fabulous.
It changes your life, doesn't it, Ms. McCall?
Yeah, she is my third mentee.
Thank you.
Wonderful. If somebody from the community would like to participate in Stake Stock. You know what I'm trying to
Yes,
say.
ma'am.
Take Stock.
Yes, ma'am.
Who would they contact?
They can contact the foundation directly, and Mrs. Zanetti will get them to Megan, or they can just call here and we'll direct them to the right person.
Great,
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that was wonderful. It's always hard to follow, Dr. Mayer. What a touching poem. I'm going to take us back to the week after spring break, and I'm surprised this didn't get mentioned, but Dr. Mayer had her first literacy festival.
Oh, that's right.
that not Dr., but Susie McGuire and staff members, her committee, put together. It was outstanding. I think it was a beautiful day. It had been really cold that week. Downtown the square, I heard there was 800 children that, came in and out throughout that day. They had a lot of different booths. They had a boutique, like a bibbidi-bobbidi boutique, and where they could dress, like a king or a queen. The Center for Blindness was there. They made a large book, and it was all in Braille. They had physically done that. It was just a really wonderful and special day, and Dr. Mayer was adorable. She had her little dress and her rose and her bear. What's the bear's name? The Beast. Oh, the Beast. Yeah, it's Beauty and the Beast. The Beast. I should have known that. But that was just a wonderful, wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing that. And thank you, Ms. McGuire, back there. That was awesome. Also, I did attend that music festival, the Charlie Dixon one. I was in the balcony when I arrived.
Oh, you weren't supposed to be. You're supposed to
Well, I was in the balcony, and I was hanging out with Evergreen teachers and parapros that were so proud of their students.
so good.
And it was a packed house all the way to the balcony, so it was very cool. And the students and the teachers worked really hard. And it was just wonderful, because again, wasn't that 700 students? I
On
believe.
stage,
It
yeah.
was 700 students on stage, so those were our students in our community doing something positive. It's awesome. I also had a chance last week with Ms. McGuire. I'm going to share with you guys later what we're up to, but we did have Mr. Sanford invited us out. They were having a luncheon with the 3 schools, Marion Oaks, Horizon, and Sunrise. And the cafeteria was just full, and it was a really nice gathering, and I'll share some of the things that we're working on over there. The welcome home ceremony with the veterans was wonderful. Our own ROTC were there. Westport Rock Band was there. They're really good. And so that was a nice day also. And then finally, I'm going to end, and I think some of us, or Mr. James alluded to this earlier. Spring is here. Spring has sprung. And I just want to encourage students and teachers just to make it to the end. You're almost here. Our new quarter, our last quarter has begun. And before we know it, it'll be the end of May. So on that note, thank you. Okay, we're going to move on. Before addressing expulsion matters, I wish to acknowledge that board members have received the alternative placement list for students through March 3rd, 2017. Ms. Flockcutter, are there any parents who have submitted a timely request to speak on their child's disciplinary matters? Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of students JD 17-59, JD 17-60, JD 17-61, JD 17-62, JD 17-63, JD 17-64E, JD 17-65, JD 17-66, JD 17-67, JD 17-68, JD 17-69, JD 17-70, JD 17-71, JD 17-72, JD 17-73E, JD 17-74E, and JD 17-75E with educational services through the first semester of the 2017-2018 school year. May I have a motion in a second?
Reluctantly, I will move.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved by Ms. McCall and seconded by Mr. James. Is there any discussion? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those that are opposed say no. And the motion passed 5-0. There being no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. James, seconded by Ms. McCall. those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, and those that oppose say no. And the motion passed 5-0. The meeting is adjourned at 6:54.